perfect stay on the
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. We are back again, myself, Colonel Gadyok, and Colonel Chahal, to talk to you about any issues that you have in your mind about the SSB. At any stage, Colonel Chahal will start giving you a little brief on the GTO, which we have not talked so far. And as we proceed, any questions that you have, we'll be taking on.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. So today we are majorly discussing the GTO series. However, we will also take on any questions that you may have. Now, as you collect your thoughts to ask us questions, I'll briefly tell you about the outdoor tasks. So you're aware that the GTO series comprises of 9 activities which are done over those 2 days, which happen on the 3rd and the 4th day when you land up at the SSB. So that is called GTO 1 and GTO 2 days. Now, these 9 activities that are conducted during the course of those 2 days, 2 half days rather, what you have to understand is that every activity that happens there is meant to draw out certain attributes of your personality. So a lot of candidates, especially the coached candidates, led away by the GTO series being purely patta balli and monkey business. So you got to understand that the GTO is also looking at the same attributes, the same OLQs, which the psychologist is looking through the dossier and the interviewing officer is looking through those questions that he asks you. So therefore the GTO is also looking at the same personality attributes by putting you through those activities. So I think we started getting some questions.
Good afternoon. I'll read out as we get. Yeah.
Right. So carrying it forward, please remember that GTO goes purely by your demonstrated performance. If you are very good and you are unable to project yourselves appropriately during the course of those activities, it will be of no use. A lot of bright people, they get left out because they are unable to project themselves appropriately while those activities are happening. You must understand that the activity is important as the way you present yourself there.
So what does it involve, being yourself, presenting yourself? What is basically, it's a more commonsensical approach, thinking logically, able to speak to each other comfortably, good interpersonal skills, good convincing maybe way of speaking, right? Besides the understanding the problem and logically being able to do something about it.
So with respect to any of these tasks that you're put through, you're most welcome to ask us any questions. However, I would like to tell you that, like I was telling earlier, that from every task, certain values will emerge, certain qualities are more clearly seen. For example, if I would like to check your journal awareness or your public speaking skills or your ability to connect with others and interact and exchange information, I would be looking at tasks like the group discussions, the group planning exercise, the lecturate. Now if I want to check your physical fitness levels, your agility, your body balance, coordination between your limbs, maybe you have some phobias of heights, etc. So to check out all those, there are tasks like the group obstacle race or the snake race and the individual obstacle task. Then you have those tasks through which your group effectiveness majorly is being seen, as also your practical work sense is being seen. So those are those 4 tasks like the progressive group task or the PGT, the half group task, the command task and the final group task. So when you're being put through those activities, the assessor, the GTO, is primarily looking at how effective are you as part of this team. So therefore it should be your endeavor to be in the inner coterie of activities. Wherever the action is on, you got to be there, right? So a lot of times candidates have this issue that the group was very active and before I could realize they picked up the helping material and they rushed in and I was left at the start line, so I could not contribute. So you got to understand that you can still contribute in terms of ideas. Wherever that you are, you could, from there itself, you can say chest number so and so, if we could do this, that. So you can still remain relevant to the GTO by contributing in terms of ideas. Also, you got to understand that the GTO will become very unobtrusive while these activities are happening. He's not going to intervene unless perhaps you're about to get hurt somewhere, or maybe that you are wasting time unnecessarily. It is only then that he will intervene. Otherwise, he is very happy recording your behavioral manifestations. Whatever behavior that you exhibit in terms of ideas, in terms of your mannerism, body language, all of that is being recorded. So he's not going to say, "Bhai, why are you not sharing helping material with so and so? Why are you breaking rules?" He is not going to say any of that. He will simply keep recording all of that, and through those recordings, he's going to draw out inferences about your personality. That okay, this person who's breaking rules very often, maybe is a very casual, careless person, or this person is maybe so dumb that he's not understood the rules only. That is why he's naturally breaking the rules. He will not say, why are you not listening to other people? Why are you, doing it on your own? He will simply say that this person is insensitive to other people, or he is overbearing or dominating. So it is from your behavior pattern that he is going to infer certain attributes of your personality. So it's very, very essential for you to always remember this, that more important than this task is the way I present myself during the course of this task. So the process of the activity is more important than the end result. So don't worry कि finish line तक पहुँचे कि नहीं पहुँचे, या आपने सारे obstacle करे कि नहीं करे. What is more important is that while this was happening, what is the role that you chose for yourself? That is what is essentially important. So keep reminding yourself, am I looking effective in this group, or am I lagging behind, or am I not visible in this team? So make sure that you are friendly and firm at the same time. It should not happen that you become overbearing, and it should not happen that you're so less assertive that you're not able to create an impact on others. So it should be somewhere in the middle of the spectrum that you should always find yourself. So be friendly, firm, lively. At the same time, be cautious of the rules and make sure that you carry the team along with you, because your aim is not to reach the finish line alone. Your aim is to be a part of this team and reach the finish line together.
See, talking of the lectures and the GDs, the topics are currently relevant, which are general in nature, and a lot of times people have some information, but what happens sometimes is when they come to speak, they get confused and they can't speak much. Would you like to highlight why that happen and what should they do to be more organized?
So a lot of candidates, they are unable to speak effectively during the GD or during the lecturate. So there are two types of candidates in this, I would say. One are those who have fair amount of knowledge and they have good ideas, but the issue with them is that they are a little less assertive. So in a very noisy, very active group, they are unable to create a space for themselves in that noise, right? And the other kind of candidates are those who have possibly less information. They are maybe, even while expressing their ideas in English, they are unable to do so effectively. So they invariably feel a little left out, or they feel कि जो मैं बोलूँगा तो ठीक होगा नहीं होगा. They have doubts in their own minds, and that is why they remain quiet. But invariably, a lot of candidates who are unable to be effective in a group are those who lack information, who don't know what to speak because their awareness level is low, and sometimes they are a little shy or mild, that they are not so effective, and they, by the time they realize that they have to speak, the time only is over. And there are some candidates who have issue with spoken English. So I would recommend that you can speak in a mix of Hindi and English. If at all you feel that you can express some thought better in Hindi, तो उतना part Hindi में बोलो, again switch back to English. In fact, it is part of the GTO's briefing also, that wherever that you're getting stuck for want of English, you can always switch over to Hindi and then again come back to English once you feel confident.
Also, see, in lectures, people get mixed up in what they're speaking because they can't organize their thoughts properly. They have some idea, so it's a very good idea to be a little bit systematic. When you look at a topic, you shuffle through your information and divide it into through relevant parts, 2 or 3 parts, 4 parts, whatever you feel. And in हर एक part में क्या क्या बोलना है, just go over those ideas. Do some kind of a mind mapping. Don't try to remember 7, 8 points or 10 points, which you generally get confused. So look at each part separately, see what all needs to be covered, Visualize speaking yourself, you yourself speaking that, and keep those major 3-4 points or the parts of it in your mind. And you come to that, then you will be able to cover a topic more holistically, rather than giving 5-6 points out of order and getting confused somewhere.
Right, so we do have a good afternoon, sir, somebody has written, but we are now waiting for your questions.
That is
any kind of queries that you have about the GTO series, or in fact anything
any
else,
other thing,
any
the
other
screening
thing,
or the interview or the
anything.
psych test,
So-
GTW, any questions we can take on,
Yeah.
and so that, because this session is meant for interaction, take your questions and maybe clarify your doubts or mind so that you are better off.
So anything that comes to your mind about the SSB process, you're most welcome to ask, especially if you want to ask about GTO series, since we are tackling that, you're most welcome to ask.
But last week we did the psych test, and before that we did the interviews, and before that we did the screening. So we've done almost everything. Now we are the GTO. However, any questions at any of those things, we can still discuss it so that there's more clarity in your mind.
So it is important for you to understand that in case if in one odd task you were not able to do too well, do not feel disheartened or dejected, because please remember, there are no marks for any activity or any task that happens there. You are basically being evaluated for your personality attributes. So therefore, for some reason, if you were not able to do too well in, let's say, one odd GD, so don't feel disheartened. Make sure that you're able to compensate by doing that much better in the other similar tasks, like in the other group discussion that happens, the second one, or during the group planning exercise, or during the lecturate, you exhibit your awareness properly. So make sure that whatever that you were found wanting in, you are able to compensate by doing that much better in the other task of the same category. I mean, just to give you an example, let's say during the snake race, if you, while you were going over the double wall, the high beam, you were showing some tendency of being a little scared of heights. So perhaps GTO has recorded that, and you understood that, okay, perhaps this is what I've done. So now when you come to the next task, which is your individual obstacle task, you can always compensate by ensuring that as you walk over the victory stand in the obstacle number 9, you confidently go over it. So GTO would say, "Bhai, मेरे को थोड़ा शक हुआ था, but I think this person is still acceptable." So you can always, so don't worry if in case in one odd task you've not been able to do well, you can always compensate by doing that much better in the other task of the same
It's
category.
a very, very important point Colonel Giles is making. So it's about your state of mind and the kind of energy or liveliness that you have in life. But so the things can go wrong, and a lot of times people, when things go wrong, they keep brooding over it, they keep thinking over it. जो अगला काम हो रहा है उसमें भी फिर they can't put their right energy. And so what happens is be able to get back. The bounce back is very, very important. Things can go wrong in life also. When life is never simple, and the right attitude is to get over it quickly and approach the next thing with a fresh mind. So that's a very good attitude to be in life.
So for the preparation of the GTO tasks, primarily, you know, how you could focus on all these activities is, firstly, as far as the tasks like group discussion or lecturate, etc. go, you'll have to basically work on your awareness level. So usually the lecturate cards are revised every 3 to 4 months, and also the GT topics are almost on that morning only they'll decide what topic they're going to give. So if you are familiar with whatever is going on around you in the present, you will be able to tackle those very, very easily. So make sure that you're well versed with at least last 3 months ka current affairs.
So like they are updated, like yesterday or day for yesterday was the killing of the Hamas chief. So there could be something on that, the implication of that,
how will it escalate,
what all can happen,
yeah.
escalation ka ho sakti. So therefore keeping updated is very, very important, because that is what is going to happen there. Could be in the interview, could be in the GD, could be in the lecture. So what is happening now and what is going to affect? But yes, there can be something on the background issues also. So therefore those are very, very important things that you must always catch up with. Now Olympics are going on. We had a lot of hopes. Some medals have come in, some are not coming. Why have some people lost? So issues on sportsmanship, issues on preparation for sports, issues on how well we are prepared. All that could be important, because that's a very important happening event right now. So keeping up with those things is important.
So we're still waiting for your questions. If you have any, please come up, because then the session is not going to last for more than half an hour.
Yeah.
So please make sure that if you have any queries, you're most welcome to ask us. Now coming to the physical fitness standards, so a lot of people are unable to do the vertical rope, especially because their stomach muscles and their shoulders are not so strong. So I would recommend, for the physical fitness part, the best exercises to do is with your own physical body weight rather than going to a gym. A best thing to do is go for a run. There is no exercise better than running. So go for a jog in the morning. So you should, and then as you come back, you could do a few exercises like push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups. Maybe you can put a rod somewhere and do some pull-ups. So I would suggest ultimate goal for you, and initially you may not be able to do those many, but as you go along, you should be able to meet that goal before your SSB. So I would say that you should aim at doing 5 kilometers in about 25 minutes time. Initially you may not be able to run 5 kilometers, you may run only 2 kilometers, but your eventual aim should be run about 5 kilometers in 25 minutes. As you come back, do proper 30 push-ups. Initially maybe you will be able to do only 10-15, and then do about 30 sit-ups, and if you can do about 10 to 12 pull-ups, you will not have any issues with any of the obstacles, whether it is individual obstacles or whether it is the snake race. You will have no issues with that. So a standard for you all should be that you should keep in your mind is 5 kilometers in 25 minutes, 30 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, and about 10 to 12 pull-ups. So that should see you through as far as the physical part goes. But then you should be aware that just the physical part is not as important, because naturally the physical part can be worked upon. It is the most trainable thing to do. If you join a gym today, in 6 months you will have a different fitness level. So physical fitness can always be improved. So even if you are unable to do one odd task, maybe aapse vertical rope nahi ho pa rahi वगैरह, so do not worry if you are unable to do one or two tasks, so long that you have reasonable coordination between your limbs, and you're not clumsy and you're not falling here and there, and that your ability to you have fair amount of stamina, it should be all right.
We have a question, Love Indian. Good afternoon, sir. What to do for GTO structure? I did not get any idea during the SSB. Would you like to
Yeah. So once again you have to understand that those structures which are given over there, to get ideas from that, you will have to have a fair amount of practical work sense. It is basically primarily physics that you have to apply. There's no great shakes in that. I mean, if you would have come here, I could have physically demonstrated those basic physics ke concepts that you could keep in your mind when you negotiate those obstacles. However, a basic understanding should be that when you look at that structure, ask yourself, this is the structure, and if I have to move in so and so direction, look at that direction and visualize the plank placed in your mind the way you want it. So imagine the plank placed the way you want it, and then ask yourself what is going wrong. Okay, it is touching glue from there, I need to elevate this. Okay, when I walk on this, it is going to go up from the rear, I need to secure that with a rope. So look at what needs to be done so that the plank will remain the way you have visualized it. So that is the basic thought that should go behind it. But then there is no simpler way to explain it to you online. So I could demonstrate those basic concepts. If you keep those in mind, whatever structure that you have, you will be able to come out with reasonably good ideas immediately. So that should not happen to you if you have gone through the class that we have here on outdoor tasks.
We have a question from Darpan. He says, I have a deep interest in doing Havan and Yagya and performed many such in social events. Can I write it in the PIQ? It's good that you participate in Havan, Yagya. These are all very important rituals in maybe your own spiritual or religious activities. These are more personal in nature. Yes, hobbies are also personal, But they're more, see, little creative. See, this is more about your part puja, being ritualistic is a good thing in your own personal life. But when you're talking hobbies and interests, there could be little bit more varied things. Could be simple things like music, could be about reading, could be about painting, could be about sketching. Any creative work that you do could also be in terms of maybe gardening or pets or something like that. Those kind of things could be listed as hobbies. These are things that you do in your pastime. Right? हवन यज्ञ जब होता है आप उसमें योगदान करते हो, अच्छी बात है. The hobbies interests are things where you use your leisure time for some fun activities, for some creative activities. They become your hobbies. After all, hobby होती क्या है? जिसका शौक होता है हम करते हैं. Some people write poetry, some people read books, even maybe going for cycling, maybe going for trekking. All those could be written those interests and hobbies. Right? So maybe I'm not saying it's bad, it's good, but if you write it, it may not have a great impact if you're looking for that.
Alright, the next question is from Sankhyan. He says that once he clears his NDA exam in September, what will be the right time to come for the SSB preparation to Olive Greens? So Sankhyan, I would we normally tell candidates is that you're aware that SSB is not really an academic test. There is nothing that you have to learn that you may unlearn by the time you go for your SSB. So what we always recommend is that after our 2 weeks program is over, you should at least have about a month with you or a month plus with you, so that you are able to work on the feedback that you get during the course of this training. Because as you go through the training, you will understand that okay, probably my awareness level is not so good, or I'm not so assertive enough in a very active group. I generally tend to lag behind, or like one of the candidates have just mentioned that I don't get ideas very easily in the outdoor tasks. So once you get to know of all those areas that you need to focus and work upon, you will naturally need time. So if you go through this program and then you immediately go for your SSB, you will not fully benefit from the training, because then you would have not worked on yourself so far. So what we recommend is that you after your result is out, usually the SSBs start coming within about 3 odd weeks. So you keep that 3 odd weeks cushion, and then you should plan to come earliest, because one doesn't know whether your SSB date will come earlier or towards the end, because they'll keep coming for 2.5 months. So it is good to go through this program as early as possible, have enough time to work on yourself, and then we also suggest that it may be a good idea to come for a 1 week's refresher course just to gauge where you stand now. So that will be the best way to go about it.
So I'd like to add, after all, the SSB is looking for your personality traits, the well-adjusted personality who's suitable to be groomed to be an officer after the training. So for one has to be grooming yourself all the time, right? Even right now it's time for you to start preparing. Awareness levels, interpersonal skills, speaking, all that is part of your preparation right now. Don't think SSB 2 हफ्ते का हो जाएगा तो we'll be ready. See, that this 2 weeks is going to be fairly good to reorient you from the perspective of the SSB. But in terms of interpersonal skills, knowledge, basically your personality, in a way, grooming is there, and grooming requires some time, knowledge. At times there are hesitations, at times there's confidence, at times there are issues in interpersonal behavior. So those need correction at a deeper level. Perhaps you do think and work on those things. And therefore, like I said, it's a great idea to do a program for 2 weeks, and after a couple of months, couple of weeks, come again, where you get a very real assessment कि change कितना हुआ है और क्या करना है, and that gives you the best benefit.
So Ram Rathore has said that he got screened out recently, and now after 9 days he has another SSB and he's feeling very nervous. As per him, he felt that he had done a fairly good job with respect to the GD, and also he felt his story was all right. Now please remember once again, like I said, that you would have felt that it was all right, but then naturally there was some issue with that. Now remember that the SSB during the screening test is only looking at some spark in this lot. They are not finally recommending you. They're just looking for people who can be retained for 4 more days. And therefore, unless you're able to show that spark adequately to them, they naturally will not take you. Now it should start right from the time that you walk in for that PPDT discussion. I mean, from a distance as you walk in, how smartly are you attired? How smartly do you walk in? How do you carry yourself? What is the energy level that you're portraying? As you come and settle down, how loudly and smartly do you wish the officer sitting there? And how keen you're appearing. In fact, your basic demeanor plays a lot of role in the way what is going on in your mind. So are you looking nervous, or are you looking not even dressed up properly, you're ill-groomed? All those go against you. And then of course, once the activity begins, now I really don't know what kind of a story you wrote, but usually if a story that you are writing is not showing that the person's it basically the level of idea that you create there is naturally showing your awareness, your maturity, and the way you connect with your ambient environment around you, the kind of social skills you have, values and beliefs that you have, they will emerge from the quality or the type of story that you write. And therefore, if that is expressed well, and then when you narrate it, if you do it very confidently and you're looking at everybody and speaking, naturally it shows that the person is confident enough to express his ideas with clarity to other people. And when the discussion starts, naturally that those 10 minutes are the most important part of the entire PPDT. Now during those 10 minutes, you got to shine like a star. What it implies is that you got to make sure that during different times of that PPDT, you are remaining relevant. So do not waste the time. You should remember that you have been given a goal, and the goal is to help the group to compile a story immediately, as early as possible. So in the compilation of that story, what is the role that you're playing? What are the contributions that you're making? That is what is important. So don't feel कि मेरी story अच्छी थी या मैंने GD में बहुत बोला. So बहुत बोला does not make any sense. Were you relevant? That is what is important. And what was your contribution towards making of the final or compiling of the final group story? That is what is essentially being seen by the assessors.
So even if you have 9 more days, not good. See, don't feel nervous about it. Whatever happened has happened. No, you learned some lessons from that. Like you said, the story should be reasonably creative and imaginative. Speak it out well when you narrate it, read it, narrate it well, and have that kind of self-assurance in yourself. That's very, very important. If you go with that sense of nervousness, कि नहीं हुआ था, अभी पता नहीं होगा कहीं होगा, if those doubts are there, then perhaps it is going to impede your performance. So get rid of those thoughts. Charge yourself fully. 9 days. Do whatever you can do. General awareness, speaking skills, self-assurance. Say that you can do it, fine, and do it well. That's what all.
Yeah. Carry a positive energy.
Yeah.
Tell yourself, I'm going to do it. And go and give your best over there. Don't carry this nervousness with you, because this is going to pull you down. Yeah. So give your best and tell yourself, I'm going to make sure that this time I'm going to make it. Go with a positive mind. Yeah.
Now, Love Indian, how to explain a gap between the SSB? I had 3 years gap in the last SSB and did nothing. What should I answer during this? Oh, see, dear friend, when the IO interviews you, he goes through the timeline of your studies and till the time you come into the SSB. So it is possible that you may have tried for NDA or TES and you may not have made it, and then you had a graduation for 3 years and didn't attempt, obviously. You're coming after 3 years. Understandable. Now, if you've done your graduation and you appeared, and then for 3 years you maybe kept trying for something else, and then you thought fit try kar lete hain. See, obviously that what does it show? It would show lack of motivation in the first place. You tried for the sake of it, or you didn't give it your best, and then क्या होता है कि 3 साल के बाद आ रहे हो तो कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा भी लगेगा कि कहीं और दाल गली नहीं, फिर आ गए यहाँ पे. So the assessors are very keenly looking at your motivation levels also. Right? So I don't know what are your reasons for not doing anything. I'm sure doing nothing, कुछ तो करा होगा ना. There may be some domestic problem. You may have been involved in some domestic affairs, maybe father's business, which did allow you to try. I don't know. I see you have to be giving some reasonable, understandable reasons. Otherwise, what it shows is that yes, you were not serious enough, maybe at the face of it, or you tried a few things, you didn't work out anywhere, and you're coming here. So that may not sound very good so far as your motivation is concerned. And those will be question marks in the mind of the assessor, and the IO especially.
So Ram Rathore has actually further
Yeah.
mentioned that the story that was on some people were standing in the background and some gentleman was sitting, and one person had a paper in his hand. I made on social and cultural event. So your story was different. So that doesn't really matter if your story was different from others. But what is more important is that did you create a meaningful purpose for your main character in that picture?
Yeah.
Also, it is very, very essential that you write a story in context with what was shown to you. So it's simply talking about people sitting there or standing there makes no sense. In which context were they standing? Is it a open area? Is it an enclosed space? Is it a room? What does their body language suggest? What were their attributes? What kind of clothes were they wearing? What were they handling? What were the age groups? So a lot of things have to be kept in mind while you decide a meaningful purpose for your main character. So if you just say it was on a social theme, that doesn't make any sense. You create a purpose for your main character which is meaningful, with which you can relate with very well, and then you make sure that the way that purpose was accomplished is mentioned in at least 5 to 7 again meaningful sentences that suggest your awareness and your maturity and a positive mindset. That is what is expected out of you. So I don't know whether the story that you wrote met all that. But nonetheless, now you forget about what you did. Now you look at what you're going to do in the next SSB.
Yeah, Darpan says I attended 2 weeks program at the Olive Greens on 24th March. And this is life changing. We're very glad you felt so. We feel gratified by these kind of remarks. Appearing for the FCAT SSB in September. Great, so time is nearing. I'm sure you're well groomed for that. No matter what the result will be, I'll be grateful. We'll be very gratified by your remarks, Darpan. Now you have nearly a month with you. I'm sure you know what to do, but if you have any difficulties, do come back to us so that we can clarify your doubts. If you're close by, come and meet us sometime.
Yeah.
That'll be a good idea. And if you can attend a week's program, so that'd be ideal. Since you came in March and there've been 4-5 months, once you do a 1 week, it becomes a little calibrated evaluation of your performance and improvement. And जो थोड़ी बहुत कसर होती है वो पूरी हो सकती है. That's what I would like to suggest. Otherwise, wish you all the best.
All the best, Darpan. And Saurabh has also written a similar message.
Oh, great.
He got recommended,
Wow.
and he says just because of Olive Greens, and proud to be an OGN. We are so proud of you, Saurabh.
Saurabh,
God bless
it's
you.
nice listening, reading your comments. We're
Very happy.
I wish you were here to share your experiences with everybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe you can type in a few things, but
Yeah.
Sankhyan 47 NDA entry, Saurabh. Okay.
NDA entry.
What's that?
Just about Saurabh Sharma, he's mentioned.
Okay.
Okay.
Acha, fine. So that's what we have to see. Basically, it's about your personality, and see, a lot of don't think NSSB is a preparation. Yes, it's a preparation, but it's not good to go immediately after a 2 weeks course. After a 2 week course, you must have at least 3 to 4 weeks, so that you can work on the areas that you need to improvement. See, one is general awareness, which is important, but more fun issues are interpersonal skills, hesitations, confidence, doubts, self-doubts. See, those are which are integral part of your personality. They come in the way of you getting maybe recommended, whether it's the IO or the GTO or the psychological responses, because that is the state of mind. So it is very, very important to look inward, understand yourself, and take right steps to improve yourself. That requires some time, because mostly we habitually react the way we do, habitually behave the way we do. So we need to rewrite that CD that is in our mind, restructure our way of thinking about ourselves, and present ourselves in a more. You cannot fake this kind of thing. It has to originally come from you. Ankur Mittal, I am preparing for the TA. What point should I keep in mind while maybe I had this thing?
I think it has got deleted.
Yeah, it's got deleted, whatever. See, yeah.
One question it says, so how to justify lesser academic score? Sankhyan 47 is asking in the interview.
Scores are a good thing to look at for the assessor, but they're not the only thing. He's looking at your personality. There are a lot of times people may not score well because they are not academically very bright, average in nature, but they have other attributes in terms of taking part in group activities, games, other group activities. Well, those are important things. Where overall, what kind of personality are you? Confidence, awareness levels, passion. Fine, those are things which take you forward. Just because somebody got 95 marks, you got 75 marks, or maybe 70 marks, may not be the reason. Yes, I'm looking at the academic performance, yes, but academic performance is not a benchmark for me to say yes. It is an input for me. What kind of a person are you? Your josh, your motivation, your awareness levels, they can override less marks at times.
And rather than justifying it, I would say it is
Yeah.
good to admit. I mean,
Admit.
why should
Yeah.
you justify
You
it?
say I did my best,
did my best.
but I'm an average kind of a student. I've really been in the middle of the class.
And maybe you have some other areas that you're good at. So
accepting yourself as you are is very, very important, and doing something to improve is very, very important. Don't carry guilts of mere kam kyun aaye. Those very often people go down because they have that kind of a guilt in their mind. They don't know kya bole, kaise convince. It's not about convincing. It is about how convinced are you about yourself, and how do you speak about yourself is important.
So waiting for any more questions that you may have.
So we have another 5 minutes or so. With good interaction that we have. So any issues about the screening test, on the psychological test, on the interviews, on the GTO, anything. Darpan. He's an IF soldier. Sent 3 of my buddies to Olive Greens after coming back, and 2 of them got recommended. I'm sure you'll also get recommended. But we're grateful that you've been promoting us. I'm sure your experience here must have, and we feel gratified.
And the results have been good. I mean, out of 3, 2 have got recommended.
So
for ACC 130. That's phenomenal.
Great.
To convey our heartiest congratulations to them, and you are in the wake. You are the next person to make it now.
Yeah, Ankur is back once again and preparing for the TA. What point should I keep in mind while preparing for the TA SSB, as there is very less information available? One is knowing about TA. TA is an army, like any other, like any other unit, but they have a role. They were working in the civil, in a government department, private company, whatever, and you get embodied for 2 months where you perform an army role. You go to regular training, preparation, so they'll prepare you for that. And because of the operational requirement, a lot of TA units are committed on long term, and people can offer to be there in the TA for long time. So that is also possible. Fine. The selection process is the same, the SSB is the same. Yes, your level of maturity would obviously be more commensurate to your age, and therefore information. Your motivation levels need to be strong, and whatever you've done in your job would also be important for him to understand you. Besides, the role of the TA is obviously it is not a regular army, but it is supporting the army, and the army is very stretched because of the commitments on both the sides of the borders with Pakistan and China, and therefore a lot of TA units get committed, and therefore you could be prepared for that also. It will be good life for you as a soldier, as an officer, wherever you are.
Yeah, they have different roles during peacetime and during operations. During peacetimes, like Sir has just brought out, that there are a lot of deployments which are there, and especially the counter-insurgency area, where they are occupying bridges and important installations, some administrative setups, so they're guarding those. There are certain ecological units which are planting trees and promoting greenery. During operations, of course, they will hold rare areas, because then they would relieve the active forces to go and fight across the border. So their role is very, very important, that they are supposed to man and hold those areas, important administrative echelons, and support them. So therefore their training happens every 3 months in a year, and every year that they get embodied. So during this training, you are basically prepared for these kind of eventualities. So if at all you asked, this is what is your role.
Yeah. Mr. G.S. Olak says, my son is stage 1 clear right now. I presume he's in the SSB at Jalandhar, is cleared his screening. Good. Yeah. Congratulations. I wish him for the best. And if there's any difficulty, he can always
yeah, he gets
connect
time
with us.
whenever he gets time in the
he can
evening,
connect
he
with
can.
us for any difficulty so that we can help him. Ram Rathore, last tips for the 9 days. Ram Rathore, just don't worry, just charge yourself, be self-assured, work on your awareness. Whether should have focus on screening? So once, see, focus on yourself. Screening क्या है, OIR है, and discussions. If the discussion is good, you're confident when you speak, you're logical, you are kind of a synergetic approach in the group. वो हो जाएगा तो SSB में भी वही काम आएगा, ठीक है?
Mr. Alok is going to write something. He says,
Yeah.
hello sir. Yeah, we're waiting for your comment. So stage 1 is clear.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he'll get recommended also.
Yeah. But it's a good thing that it's got cleared stage 1. That gives a lot of confidence to the children when they do that. Now he must retain that confidence, apply his mind, think before he writes and speaks. Of course, that is important, but it has to be appropriate. Okay, wish him all the best. Yeah, any other questions, anybody, before we close? Because again, next week we'll be here with you from 12:30 to 1:30 to take on any questions that you have regarding the SSB. Good feedback we get from you, and also that people who've been earlier, they keep in touch with us. We feel very happy. So good to interact like that.
So looks like there are no more questions.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best, and keep up your good efforts.
All the best. God bless you all.
Goodbye.